All right, good morning, everyone. Hopefully you guys aren't too tired from staying up from the Super Bowl last night if you stayed up and watched. I didn't stay up very late because my team wasn't playing. I'm a Cowboys fan. Yes, I know, I'm a Cowboys fan, but it's okay. All right, so this week we're going to talk about regulations, standards, and record keeping. Record keeping is a very important part of the sterilization process. Okay, we're going to talk about why here in a little bit. So this is your Unit 6. We're almost done. You guys are hanging in there. We're almost there, okay? So here are our objectives for this week. We're going to apply principles and techniques for proper decontamination, detailed by industry standards. We're preparing surgical equipment and supplies for sterilization and storage. Again, industry standards. That's going to be a big key here. We're going to demonstrate proper processes and mechanisms of sterilization for instrumentation and equipment in the operating room, and then demonstrate various wrapping and packaging techniques. So some of these we've kind of talked about in previous chapters. We're going to kind of tie it all in together this time. So screen here. So assignments for your Unit 5. Remember your discussion, your first initial discussion post is due Wednesday. Most of you are doing pretty good at getting that first discussion in, but then make sure you respond to 2 of your peers, okay, for full credit. So here are your assignments for this week. So chapter 5, and then there's a little bit from, I think, chapter 17, I believe is what it is, for some of your other information. All right, so Unit 6, regulation standards and record keeping. So why is it so important to keep records in sterilization? I think sometimes when you're first learning about this, you don't necessarily think about that aspect of it. You think, okay, we got to keep these instruments clean. We got to learn how to reprocess them and package them. That is obviously one of the main focuses of the job. But if we don't keep track of what has happened, if something goes wrong, we have to be able to look back and see, where did it go wrong? What possibly could have gone wrong? What did we miss? Okay. So if there's an issue later, it's important to be able to look back and check those records for sterilization. Maybe it was the actual sterilizer itself. Maybe it was the temperature. You got to check the temperature, the load number. Maybe it was the pH of the water during the decontamination process. There's a lot of steps that have to be checked off throughout the whole process. So we'll learn a little bit about those record keeping items here in a few. So first, a couple of the companies or entities, you could say, that regulate what we will be doing in sterile processing. The FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, is a big one. I know a lot of times our first thought when we hear FDA might just be, oh, food. You know, they regulate the food that we eat, or maybe even the drugs that are made in different plants, and etc. But they are also big on regulating medical equipment, what we use in the operating room and what is being used in sterile processing. So they do regulate those things. They also classify medical devices according to their risk to the patient. So there's like a class 1, 2, and 3. Class 3 is going to be the highest risk, such as an implant or a life-sustaining device like a heart valve implant or something like that. So those are a little bit more high risk. They have to meet very stringent and critical standards to be used on that patient. They also put out some guidelines or like written manuals, etc. Like, for example, this one called Labeling Reusable Medical Devices for Reprocessing in Healthcare Facilities. So they focus also heavily on the reusable aspect of what we use in surgery. So there, again, are stringent guidelines that have to be followed for reusable medical devices. Certain things cannot be reused or reprocessed, and some things can be. Like, for example, implants, if it has been inside the patient, can no longer be reprocessed or reused for somebody else. It has to be discarded. So they have those types of standards. They document the emphasis for safe reprocessing. Can it be done safely for the patient, and will the device withstand reprocessing as well? Some are made in a way that just do not withstand reprocessing. They also will issue recalls on devices. So if they find that maybe we've been using a certain, let's say, stapler in surgery, and it's causing more injury to the patient than it is doing good, they can issue recalls on those devices, put those out for the facilities, and they'll pull those off the shelves. Okay, so here's another one, the CDC. We've all heard about the CDC here lately, I'm sure. So that is the Centers for Disease Control. They do also regulate some of the things that happen in sterile processing because, we've learned about all the diseases and healthcare risks associated with reprocessing these dirty instruments that come from, let's say, surgery, right? So their main focus is to promote health and prevent diseases by controlling diseases. We've heard about that a lot lately. Another thing they do is they develop like techniques for isolation control. They were actually the first to develop the recommendations that we use for infection control and isolation. So isolation means, if something is known to be contaminated or highly contagious, we separate that in a way that is effective. So they developed those standards first. Also note that the CDC is not necessarily a regulatory agency. It doesn't set laws by any means, but they set guidelines. So they'll publish these guidelines on their website or in a manual or some written document that other facilities will then go to and look to, and then they will make policies based on that. So a lot of hospitals will make their hospital policies based on CDC recommendations. You'll see that a lot, even though it's not truly a law. That's what the hospitals will base their information on. So they also do put out documents, like, for example, they have one called the Guideline for Disinfection and Sterilization in Healthcare Facilities. So this is one of the main standards that we would use for sterilization and cleaning of surgical instruments and supplies. So that document will be available to you. Another one that we've mentioned before is the AAMI. That is the Advancement of Medical Instrumentation. So this is the membership group that you could be a part of if you so choose. So it's not just sterile processing techs that are a part of this group. It could be doctors, other healthcare professionals, nurses, etc., that make up this membership group. But they also, kind of like the CDC, will develop new standards and something called TIRs. TIRs stand for Technical Information Reports. So these reports just demonstrate how to use, care, and process certain devices. Okay, so you'll see a lot of these TIRs because that's kind of developed as the gold standard, so to speak, of how to reprocess and care for surgical instrumentation and devices. So they do publish their standards just like the CDC would, and those documents that have undergone research, etc. So these resources are going to be some of the most widely used resources you will see in central sterile processing. You'll see AAMI referenced a lot in maybe your manuals or your guidelines that your particular facility will use because they are that gold standard. They've done the research, so we would look to them to follow best practices. We want to make sure that we're staying up to date on those standards. They've done that research for you to make sure that, yes, this is the way that it should be done. We're going to follow that standard until something tells us otherwise. So we have to do what's best for our patient, and they will look into that and make sure that that's best. Okay, so record keeping is found in chapter 17. There are some questions and some homework based on the record keeping. So documentation is key, okay? It is required at all steps of reprocessing. So from the time that, you get those instruments back in decontamination, through that process, through repackaging, and then sterilization. there will be a record of it, okay? You have to make sure that each of these records through every step is accurate, legible, and complete. If any of these are incorrect, you could truly like skew the process by um, making the outcome for the patient not what it should be. If we have to go back and look at those records and any of those things are missing, it might cause a poor outcome for the patient. Okay, if for some reason you are handwriting some of these, some are typed. If you are handwriting some of these and your handwriting is terrible, it might be hard to decipher what truly happened on that load. Let's say, on one of these pieces of paper. If you forgot to write the time or the sterilizer number, that is a key piece of information that really could affect the outcome. So be very careful with those types of things. Some other things here that you have to keep record of, like I said, it's going to be about every step of the way. When you're in decontam and you're using that water that we talked about in those 3 sinks, you have to check for water quality. And there's a lot of ways to do that. One of the things is checking the pH level. Is that pH level acceptable for the water being used in that sink? There will be a monitor for that, okay? Same with your ultrasonic cleaners. Is it in good working order? Is it meeting all the functional requirements to make sure that ultrasonic cleaner is working properly? Same with washer decontaminators. Your book even mentions cart washers. If your facility has those, not everybody does. I was just at Ohio State Medical Center in Columbus, Ohio. I got to tour their facility, and they have these cart robots. It's actually really cool. They take the dirty case cart downstairs on this little robot. It knows where to go. So that was actually kind of interesting. But every step of those, there's going to be some sort of track to make sure that each step was met according to standard. Chemical disinfection monitoring is important, making sure that they are the correct chemical being used for that particular item. Was it used properly? Scope reprocessors, kind of like those ultrasonic cleaners, will be monitored. Now, these process indicators can be one of 2 things. It could be talking about an internal chemical indicator, or a CI chemical indicator, or an external chemical indicator. So they are what they say, right? Internal means inside, external means outside. You're going to have these monitors on packages or instrument trays that will indicate whether or not that particular item went through the sterilization process and met the conditions for sterilization. Again, remember, the only way to show that what is inside is truly sterile is by the biological indicator. The external or internal indicator just means that it met the conditions for sterilization. So these external chemical indicators show that it went through, and it's a way to see that, yes, this particular package is sterile without having to open it, okay? Now, the internal chemical indicators we've talked about in a previous chapter, if it's a multi-level tray, it will go on all the levels. You want to make sure that that chemical sterilant, whether it's steam or ETO, whatever, is reaching all of the process, all of the levels, and all of the difficult places to reach, like within the instrument tray, that it's being reached, right? So we want to make sure that those indicators are on both places. Now, our physical monitoring is referring to things like time and temperature, pressure, if we're talking about like steam pressure. Those will be like on a digital printout most of the time. It can print out from the machine, and then that will also have to be kept track of as well, all those printouts. And again, biological indicator is another type of record that we have to keep track of, and is probably one of the most important because it is the one that's going to show, yes, this particular item went through the sterilization process. It is sterile. That's what that means. So when we're talking about, things that are being used on the patient, ensuring that it is truly sterile is super important. So we have these load control numbers that are going to be on the machines, like for example, the steam sterilizer. Whenever you're recording those particular machines, you have to write down the sterilizer number. If you have multiple sterilizers, they should be numbered in a way that's easily identifiable. Okay, so you have to write down the sterilizer number. The cycle number will come up on the screen. Maybe this is the however many cycles of the day or month or year, however it's set up. So you have to write that cycle number down. You also always have to include the date. Some facilities will write the date in what's called a Julian date. So the Julian date is, and for me, this is the hardest one because I don't think this way. The Julian date is like the day of the number of the year. So if you're processing this on December 31st, the Julian date would be 365. That's the 365th day of the year. If you're doing it on January 1st, the Julian date would be 1. But when you start to get in the middle of those, my brain doesn't think that way. I don't know what today's date would be in Julian date. I'd have to look. So it's a little bit trickier. I think a lot of facilities are starting to go to this regular format of like day, month, year, or month, day, year, whichever, like we would normally write it. And then once you get these lot control numbers, you're going to record that on a log sheet. You have to put that load number, again, the cycle number, date, time, all of that still has to be listed. And then you're also going to include the specific item being sterilized. So be detailed there. How long was it exposed for? Was it the 3-minute cycle, 4-minute, whatever it was? Your signature, if you were the one that ran that load, so the operator's signature always has to be present. So we know, but we could go back and question that particular person if something comes up wrong or not sterile or whatever happened. Now, these two may be listed. They don't have to be if they weren't ran for that particular load. So the response of the biological indicator, if it was present, as well as the Bowie-Dick test, if it was present on that particular load. Okay, so I'm going to show just this video here of a 3M Attest biological monitor. So these 3M Attests are pretty common. You might see these in your facilities. It's a brand, 3M is a brand of a super rapid biological indicator readout system. So a lot of facilities are going to this now. It used to be back in the day where biological indicators had to be incubated for 24 hours before they could be read. And that's a long time to go between, running the load with those items and then being able to use those items. So if for some reason you need that particular item quickly and you want to make sure that it is safe to use on the patient, that it is sterile, 24 hours is a long time to go. So they've developed this more rapid system that allows you to read that biological indicator much sooner. So let's watch this video. Let me make sure that I have a feeling I did not get my sound to work. So just give me 5 seconds here.
Monitoring, 3M A-Test biological indicators have been providing leaders like you with trusted results for over 40 years. The 3M Infection Prevention Solutions team understands how every minute matters in your mission to provide sterile and safe instruments for your patients. The longer it takes to confirm that cycle conditions were adequate to achieve sterilization, the greater the risk of delayed surgeries and instrument shortages. In an emergency, you may need to use implants before lethality has been confirmed with a negative BI result, which puts patient safety on the line. If only you could have the speed you need while delivering the safety patients deserve. Now you can. The 3M A-Test Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System empowers you with the information you need when you need it. Know sooner. Know for sure. 3M A-Test Biological Indicators, helping you do the right thing for patient safety. The 3M A-Test Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System is a super fast, reliable way to monitor steam sterilization processes in healthcare facilities. A-Test Super Rapid Biological Indicators, or BIs, dramatically decrease turnaround time by providing true biological results faster than ever before. 270-degree Fahrenheit vacuum-assisted BI incubation time is just 1 hour instead of 3. Faster turnarounds make it easier to comply with sterilization guidelines, which helps you provide the highest standard of care for every patient. The 3M A-Test Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System includes biological indicators and challenge packs. 1492V brown cap BIs and associated challenge packs monitor 270-degree and 275-degree Fahrenheit vacuum-assisted steam sterilization cycles. The system also includes the 3M A-Test Auto Reader 490, designed to incubate and automatically read the results of 3M A-Test Super Rapid Readout BIs. Other biological indicators are not compatible and cannot be used with this auto reader. Setting up and configuring your 3M A-Test Auto Reader 490 is simple. First, place it on a firm, level surface near an outlet, away from sunlight and incandescent light. The A-Test Auto Reader 490 comes with multiple power plugs for use in different countries. Select the plug appropriate for your country and insert it into an AC grounded outlet. If you plan to use the A-Test web app, connect the supplied Ethernet cable to an Ethernet jack. Once the unit is plugged in, allow it to warm up for 30 minutes. When proper incubation temperature is reached and the A-Test Auto Reader 490 is ready to use, the C1 caution code will disappear. When you press the information button once, the LCD display gives the A-Test Auto Reader 490 serial number, the version of the embedded software, and the current date and time. The bottom row shows the configuration for the BI incubation wells. Press the information button twice to display the IP address if the unit is connected to an Ethernet jack, and the date and time that the Auto Reader 490 was last powered up. To save counter space, auto readers can be stacked 2 units high. Before configuring the wells, make sure the Auto Reader 490 is empty. Press the info and alarm off buttons on the front of the unit simultaneously and hold for 3 seconds to enter the configuration mode. Next, use the up and down buttons to program the clock, buzzer, and incubation well configuration you want. The alarm off button acts as an enter key and moves the flashing cursor to the next changeable setting. Be sure to apply the color-coded sticker that matches the auto reader configuration that you need. Your A-Test Auto Reader 490 is now ready to use. Let's look at how to activate and incubate a super rapid BI in the Auto Reader 490. The first step is to remove the BI or challenge pack from the sterilizer. If using an A-Test Super Rapid Readout BI challenge pack, if desired, scan the 2D barcode on the label to record product catalog number and lot code. Open the challenge pack and allow the A-Test Super Rapid BI to cool for 10 minutes before activating. Check the process indicator on the cap of the BI. A color change from pink to light brown confirms that the BI has been exposed to the steam process. Be sure to label the BI with the sterilizer, load number, and date. Wearing safety glasses, place the A-Test Super Rapid BI in a matching color-coded A-Test Auto Reader 490 incubation well. Make sure the flat side of the vial faces the back of the auto reader. Press the cap of the A-Test Super Rapid BI down firmly to close the cap and crush the glass ampule. Immediately remove the BI and visually verify that the glass ampule has been crushed. Then, flick the vial to cause the purple growth media to flow to the growth chamber at the bottom of the vial. Return the activated BI to the incubation well and check the LCD panel to confirm that the vial is properly seated. The Auto Reader LCD panel will display a series of asterisks, then the remaining incubation minutes right below the incubating BI. Now, all you need to do is wait for the result. Never remove an incubating A-Test Super Rapid BI until you see a plus or minus sign on the LCD panel, which indicates the test is complete. The moment a positive result is detected, you'll see a plus sign on the LCD panel directly under the incubating BI. If the sound feature is enabled, you'll also hear an alarm, which you can silence by pushing the buzzer alarm off button. If the audible alarm is disabled and a positive result occurs, the LCD display will flash. To stop the flashing, press the alarm button. When a processed BI returns a positive result, it indicates a failure in the steam sterilization process. A negative result, which indicates a successful sterilization process, will only appear at the end of the full incubation period. At the end of the 1-hour incubation time for 1492 VBIs, if a negative result is detected, you will see a minus sign on the LCD panel directly under the BI. Each day that a processed 1492 VBI is incubated, activate and incubate an unprocessed 1492 VBI as a positive control. The positive control should be from the same lot code as the processed biological indicator. The positive control BI should provide a positive fluorescent result. After a BI test is complete, the next step is to record your results. You can use traditional record-keeping methods or the 3M A-Test Autoreader 490 web app. The 1492 VBI is normally discarded after the fluorescent result has been recorded. But if you're conducting a special study, you have the option to further incubate 1492 VBIs for a visual pH color change result. In the case of the positive control BI, you will see a yellow color change of the growth media and/or nonwoven material within 48 hours. Any evidence of yellow color within the vial indicates a positive result. In the case of a processed 1492 VBI, a color change from purple to yellow of the growth media and/or nonwoven material indicates a sterilization process failure. A negative pH color change result, where the media and nonwoven material remains purple or blue, can be assessed after 48 hours of incubation. The 3M A-Test Autoreader 490 offers additional functionality online. Once you connect to the A-Test web app, you can remotely view the current status of incubating BIs using a computer or smartphone. The web app also allows you to remotely view and configure A-Test Autoreader 490 settings, view results for the last 100 BI tests, save records for your electronic files, and print records for your paper files. To connect to the A-Test web app, follow the step-by-step instructions in the A-Test Autoreader 490 Operator's Manual. Once connected to the A-Test web app on your computer or smartphone, you'll see the status page, which provides a real-time view of the A-Test Autoreader 490 configuration and LCD panel display. The current date and time and Autoreader 490 serial number are also displayed on this page. From here, you can navigate to a history page showing the results of the last 100 BI incubations and results detail pages by clicking on the well number of an occupied well. The A-Test web app makes it easy to create records of BI test results. After inserting a BI in the A-Test Autoreader 490, open the results detail page for that BI by clicking on the corresponding well number from the status page. Enter the specific information for that BI in the empty form fields. Once the BI result is available, print or file the results detail page to create an individual record for the incubated BI. The Autoreader 490 stores results for the last 100 incubated BIs on embedded software. The web app history page provides a summary of these results. The A-Test Autoreader 490 can be configured using the buttons directly on the unit. But you can also configure the unit remotely using the A-Test web app. Go to the configuration page to customize the incubation wells. Enable or disable the audible alarm and assign a nickname to your A-Test Autoreader 490. To learn more about using the A-Test Autoreader 490 web app, see your operating manual. The 3M A-Test Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System works fast, which can reduce the risk of emergency release of instruments and implants. This helps to keep you compliant with CDC, AORN, and AAMI guidelines. Greater speed can also quicken instrument turnaround, which translates to better start time accuracy and case duration rates. And with faster instrument turnaround, you may not need to purchase or maintain as many instrument sets. surgeons getting what they need when they need it. That leads to improved surgeon satisfaction. As surgical delays decrease, patients may be more satisfied too. Should a recall ever occur, having a prompt BI result can help you take action faster. The ATEST Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System also offers peace of mind. You know the OR will have what they need faster than ever. And you know that every patient under your watch is more likely to receive the highest level of sterilization assurance possible. The ATEST Super Rapid Readout Biological Indicator System is another great innovation from the 3M Infection Prevention Solutions team, delivering you peace of mind by helping you do the right thing for patient safety. Need help using the ATEST AutoReader 490 and ATEST web app? Refer to the ATEST AutoReader 490 Operator's Manual for detailed instructions and troubleshooting tips. To learn more about using ATEST Super Rapid BIs and challenge packs, refer to the instructions for use included in the packaging. Or visit us online at 3m.com/ATEST Super Rapid BI.
Great. So hopefully that video was helpful because you will be using a lot of those biological monitors. Some of the newer models might not look the same, but they're going to have the same, same concept. So keep that in mind. You can always look up, on that website if you want to find the most up-to-date version of that. So if you guys have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out. I know some of you have been emailing me on different things. That's great. Keep it up. You guys are doing good work. We're almost done with this, so hang in there. Keep submitting your assignments. Don't take zeros for those. Just try your best. If you have any questions, again, my email is mludwig@herzing.edu. We have office hours today on Monday from 12 to 2 Eastern time. But if you need to meet at any other time outside of that, or send me an email, whatever, just let me know. We can work something out. But other than that, have a great weekend. We're almost there, so keep up the good work.